everyone, Catweazle here. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to our brand new playthrough, which is Sword and Sorcery Immortal Souls, and we're just about to start our first quest, which will be the Prologue, which is the first quest from Act 1 of the campaign. So really excited to start, and as you can see there's been a slight change from last episode because these guys are standing out a bit more. The reason for that is they have obviously been primed, so I've primed them with some white primer. They were grey previously, it made them a little bit harder to see against the busy background of the tiles, but hopefully they will stand out a lot better for you now. So we've got Thorgar, we've got Karras, and we've got Leodon, and they're ready to rock and roll. So what do we do in order to play Sword and Sorcery? Well, each round is split into 3 different phases. The first phase is called the time phase. Now we don't actually have to do the time phase because this is our first round. Yeah, and the time phase is essentially, it's a clean up round. Yeah, so you clean things up, you level up, you refresh powers, all that sort of thing. Because we haven't been playing previously, we've got to do none of that. But what I will do quickly is I will show you the time phase graphic, and you'll know what's happening when that comes up. So that was the time phase graphic. So you'll see that when we enter a new round of play, and we'll do all those, you know, all that upkeep, all that refreshing of powers, any leveling up, that will take place during that phase. Alright, so we've skipped the time phase. What's next? Next up is the battle phase. And here we are at the battle phase, and this is where we really get kicked off for this episode. So who's up for it? Ha! So we've got our 3 heroes. They've just been resurrected. They are ancient heroes, and they've been dead a long time. But they have been resurrected. The High Abbot, the guy who runs the sort of Heavenshine, I think, Monastery, he has brought them back to life via this shrine, and what he wants them to do is he wants them to deal initially with an infestation of gremlins, funnily enough, and that's what we're going to do. So who is going to go first? Remember those little gem things? Well, this is the one we're going to activate, and this is Karras' gem. So he is going to be the first to go. So I'll flip that over. Now, Karras, there are quite a few things that you can do during this battle phase. One of them is movement, so he's going to move. While you're moving, you can interrupt movement for various things. And actions, you can interrupt movement with an action and then sort of carry on your movement afterwards. And you can also interrupt movement for free actions. That's things like opening doors, or, you know, the real simple stuff like picking stuff up or dropping stuff on the floor. All those can interrupt movement. One thing that can't interrupt movement is combat. As soon as you start combat, that's it. The rest of your movement is lost. Yes? But you can do combat, and if you manage to, and say you manage to kill the enemy, then you can move. Yeah? You just cannot interrupt movement. So once you've started moving, if you're enter combat, then you lose the rest of your movement. Now, what are we going to have Karras do? Well, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to move, because otherwise he's not going to do a lot just stood there, is he? He's not going to rescue the kingdom sat on his ass. So he moves into here, but we have a waypoint, waypoint 1. So what we have to do is we have to go to the Book of Secrets, which is this snazzy little book here, and we have to look up what happens at waypoint 1. And waypoint 1 is actually section 1.3, as you can see there. Some old weapons lie near the altar. Once per quest, each hero moving over this waypoint can spend 1 action to draw and equip up to 3 item cards of his choice from the stash deck. Awesome. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to use his single action and he's going to have a look through the stash deck. So we'll get that out, and here it is. You know it's a stash deck because it has stash helpfully in the corner. If you flick it over, it's also got each of these items have got a forged side. When we come to forging weapons, I'll show you what that is. But these are all stash weapons, and he gets to pick up to 3 of these items. What's he going to pick? Well, he's going to pick a shield. He can pick the shield. It's got an S symbol. He is a strength character. It could also be used by a faith-based character like Thorgar, but we're going to give it to our tank. Now, what does a shield do? Well, it acts as an off weapon. That's what these cross sword symbol mean. So you can actually use it to try and inflict damage if you wish. But generally, it's obviously a defensive item of equipment. It allows you to roll 1 blue die if you get hit, so that's good. It's got a range of 0, obviously. Now, if you do use it as an offensive weapon, it's got bash. So if you bash with it, you can basically shove an enemy model into an adjoining tile. So that's what that does, just moves people back, you just bash people back. When defending, you get +1 armour. So that's why we want to give it to Karras. He is our tank after all. So we'll put that in his offhand on his player sheet. His second item he's picked is a broadsword. Again, he can use this, his strength. Now, this has got a symbol here on the left-hand side, which is a red sword, sort of at an angle. That means it's a one-handed weapon, which is great. He can use his shield at the same time. Again, it's got a range of 0, so it's a melee weapon, and it rolls 2 red dice when you attack. Brilliant. If we happen to get a lightning bolt, that will give us an extra hit, which is always useful. Additionally, we can also use a lightning bolt to re-roll 1 hit die if we make a balls of anything. So we'll put that in his other hand. And the final item he's going to pick up is the chainmail. So let's give him the best armour. It's medium armour. It's not the best armour in the game, obviously, but it's the best armour in the stash. Again, strength, so he can use it. Gives him 1 armour, so that's great. That will soak up damage. And it also gives him 3 blue dice. You'll see how those work when we are defending. If we roll a lightning bolt, we can re-roll any defence dice. So we may need that. If we roll 2 lightning bolts, we get extra shielding, so that's brilliant, yeah? So that would help us to soak up any damage. So he's going to take that chainmail and he's going to put it on. So that's his action. He's gone through all the stuff, picked out what he wanted, and now he's ready to continue on. Because that was an action, he can interrupt movement, so he's going to move here. His second movement takes him to here, where he's faced with an unlocked door. Now, because it's unlocked, he can open that as a free action. Again, he can interrupt movement to do that. So he's going to do that. So he opens the door. Now, that causes a minor problem, because whenever you open doors, whether they're locked or unlocked, or chests for that matter, something happens. Yes, it could be trapped. So we have a trap deck here. So every time we open a door or a chest, or if we're instructed to by the storybook or the Book of Secrets, then we have to pull a trap. So let's give it a quick shuffle, and no trap! Brilliant. So pop that there, and we'll just discard that at the side. Brilliant. So, no trap. And he still has 1 movement left. So what he's going to do is he is going to step out into the corridor here, because he is Karras and he's looking for a fight. Because he steps out here, we have a shadow token. This shadow token is now within line of sight of this hero. I'll just quickly go through line of sight. Those of you who are used to Descent and Perdition's Mouth, things like that, where you go, no, not line of sight. It's quite easy in this game. They've simplified it, which is great, because you don't want to be here for ages trying to, you know, work out if anything's got line of sight. So if you can look here, there's a little X on this tile. It's probably a bit more noticeable here. There's a little X there. And that is your line of sight part of the tile. So each of these tiles have a little X on them. Yeah, if it's counted as a separate tile, they will have a little X on them. And that's useful for counting your movement as well. So if you ever enter a tile that's got an X on it, you know that you've got to take one movement off from your sort of movement amount. You've got to take one off. So there's an X here, there's an X here. So all you have to do is do that and go, yes, line of sight, there's no door in the way anymore, that's line of sight. Similarly, we've got an X here and the X here for this tile. If we do that, yes, nothing in the way. Everything on this tile has got line of sight to everything on this tile. There are a few sort of tweaks to that rule. You know, say we had quite a lot of figures on here, particularly with heroes, that affects line of sight, but I'll go through them when it happens. Generally, these two, because the X's, you can draw a line between them unimpeded, that means there's line of sight. Because there's line of sight, that means this guy gets flipped over. So he's been waiting in the corridor, suddenly he sees this armoured knight burst out of the door, and what do we get? What we want is an innocent bystander, that's what we want, and we get, oh goblins, we get the worst one. We only had one token with 2 monsters on it, and this is it. So we get 2 monsters are going to spawn here. Because this is a shadow token, the monsters will actually spawn where the shadow token is. If monsters spawn in any other way, they go to the spawn point. The spawn point for this level at the moment is just up here, it's just off shot up there. But because this is a shadow token, they will spawn in this particular tile. So we've got to dig those out, we'll get rid of that. It's served its purpose. So what we've got to do is we have the enemy pile here, and our first one is a blue gremlin. That's not a good start. I'll just show you the card. This is a dexterity monster, and it's B for blue, and this is its targeting icon. It will target the hero with the most money. Nobody's got any money, so we'll just have it target Karras, because Karras actually has some armour on at the moment. As a reaction, it's got /-1 hit. So if it's hit by a slashed weapon, you'll take 1 hit off. Yes, that's bad news because Karras has the broadsword, which is a slashing weapon, so that's a bit grim. It also will drop 10 crowns when it dies, and it has 4 health. So that is the blue gremlin. Now, because Karras is still the active hero, that means he will be looking after that particular monster. And what I'll do is we need the enemy scroll. So I'll get that from here. This is the enemy scroll for the blue gremlins. Again, attacks the hero with the most cash. Here are its AI, depending on range. So we'll just pop the model. Here we are. Here's a blue gremlin. We'll pop the first one there. So he's at range 1. So that would mean he'd move to engage and attack with claws. Yes. This is what it does with all the other ranges. Again, we'll read those as and when we get to them. But like they might throw stones, they might just move towards the hero. Just depends on how far away they are. They've got some special abilities, so it's a thief. If claws attack deals damage, discard a random coin from the targeted hero's inventory, or if empty, from the target area. Yeah? It's got banding 1. If enemies control its area, the claws attack inflicts 1 extra damage. And I'll talk about control and dominance very shortly, because it looks like we're getting to a battle. Reaction is spines, so it's got another reaction. If this enemy suffers damage, attack all heroes in its area with 2 damage. Yeah, so if you hit it, its spines start flying out and start trying to hit you. And it's got a special symbol here, Evil Force, activate this enemy. Now this symbol normally comes out on encounter cards, and it'll say, like, it'll show this symbol and it'll say activate this special power. Yeah, and in this case it'd be Evil Force, which means the enemy gets to hit you again. Yeah. And down here is the damage it does. So if it attacks with claws, it rolls 2 red dice, and because it's a blue enemy, you automatically lose one of your armours, so that's bad. Its secondary attack is stones. It just chucks stones and you get hit twice. Doesn't even have to roll. Just it just hits you with them. They're good shots. So that's the blue gremlin. And we've got another enemy. Now, if this is another blue gremlin, we can crack straight on because we've gone through blue gremlins. But no, of course, it's the green gremlin. So, dexterity based again. The green one also attacks the hero with the most crowns, so we'll have it attack Karras again. He's the only guy who's currently got armour. It's got no special ability down here. It's got 3 health. Oh, and this one will actually drop a soul shard. So one drops 10 crowns, this one drops a soul shard. We'll go through soul shards when we come to levelling up. Suffice to say we need 4. 4 of these soul shards will allow us to level up a hero, but I'll go through that in more detail when we get to it. So that's the green gremlin. Let's get his miniature. There he is. We'll plonk him there as well. And here is his map scroll. So going to go after the guy with the most crowns, dexterity, we've seen all that. Here is his AI based on range. He's at range 1. So move to engage, attack with claws. Exactly the same as the blue gremlin. His abilities are slightly different. He's still a thief, so again he'll take a random coin from a hero or the target area. Banding 1 is the same. If it controls the area with its buddies, then its claws attack will inflict an extra damage, and it too has got evil force, but it doesn't have the spines. That's the difference. Claws attack, you get 2 red dice, and again it throws stones as a secondary attack as well, which is 2 damage. You do get to roll. That's not it's not lethal damage, so you do get to roll. If you've got any blue dice, you can actually roll against that. But getting 2 hits straight off without having to roll for it, they're pretty good with stones, man. Now, that will not be controlled by Karras. We will move around in clockwise order because it's a different enemy group, and that will be controlled by Thorgar. So Thorgar is controlling the green gremlins, and Karras is controlling the blue. And that is it for the end of his turn, except, yes, there are now enemies on the board. And because there are enemies on the board, we have to pick an encounter card. So here we go. What do we get? Brute Force. That doesn't sound good. Activate all strength enemies. Well, these are dexterity enemies, but we've got an otherwise statement. Otherwise, activate 2 enemies, which means basically we activate these 2 guys. So discard that. And activate. So they're at 1. We'll activate the blue first because he's the most powerful. And I think we mentioned this. Move to engage and attack with claws. Now, he's going to attack Icarus because nobody here has got any crowns yet. So he can attack whoever we want him to attack, and we're going to have him attack him. So he moves here and he attacks Icarus. He's attacking with his claws. That's 2 red dice. Ooh, combat, our first combat. And what do we get? We get a hit and a lightning bolt. And we get a hit and a pentacle. Now the lightning bolt doesn't do anything. We had a look at the enemy scrolls, we had a look at the cards themselves, and there was nothing for lightning bolts, so that's good. So it's just got 2 hits. Night doesn't apply to enemies, so we don't take a hit off for the enemies, so it's just 2 hits. But that's fine. Why is it fine? Well, as you just saw, we just picked up a shield, which gives us +1 armour, which is brilliant. And we also got, not a broadsword, we'll talk about that's not going to help. Help in a bit, but not now. We also got the chainmail, which is +1 armour. So normally what would happen is that'd just bounce off. But it's a blue enemy, and I believe Yes. Claws, we get rid of -1 armour. So 1 actually got through. But we have loads of blue dice we can use. We get 3 for the chainmail, and we get 1 for the shield itself. So we can use one of those to try and ward off this damage that's come through. How it works is, in this case for example, there's just 1 damage that's coming through, so you can only use 1 die. Yeah, you can only use a number of blue dice that is equal to the damage that you're going to take. So if it had been 2 damage, you could use 2 blue dice. Now he only has 4. He has 1 for the shield and he's got 3 for the chainmail. So if he was going to take 5 damage, we could only roll 4 of these dice. Yeah. But as it is, he's only taking 1 damage. He's got 4 blue dice, so he's able to use 1. What we're looking for is a shield. So let's do it. And we don't get a shield. We do, however, get a... I'm just checking. Does that do anything? Yes. He's got chainmail. And as you can see, it's got a lightning bolt there. It says re-roll any defense dice. You can re-roll a dice just once. So we're going to have 1 re-roll for this. And we got a shield. Awesome. So we got a shield, which means we actually stopped it. So we were able to use the lightning bolt that we got first to re-roll this dice. Now Thorgar also has Divine Aid, which allows a hero who's in range to re-roll any die. Yeah, we couldn't have used this. Say that had failed. Yeah, say we'd got that again and we'd failed. We couldn't have used that because that die had already been re-rolled once. You can't re-roll a die twice. However, if we were rolling 2 blue dice, you can re-roll 1 and then we could have re-rolled the other using this. Yeah, but the same dice, you can't re-roll it twice. As it was, 1 re-roll was all we needed. So he managed to shrug off that attack from the blue gremlin. But it hasn't finished. No, because we had to activate 2 enemies and we've got a green one. So the green one rushes up and that will attack. And it's exactly the same. He's going to roll 2 red dice here. So let's do it. And he gets 2 hits. This time, however, we do not have to roll. And the reason for that is the green gremlin doesn't have that -1 armour. So Karras has his shield and he has his chainmail. That's 2 armour. The 2 hits are soaked up by that. So even though he's been attacked by 2 monsters, our hero has managed not to take any damage. And that is now the end of Karras' turn. And that means next up is going to be Thorgar. And here we are with Thorgar. What's he going to do? Essentially the same thing. So first of all, he's going to start his movement to here, waypoint 1. We know what waypoint 1 is. It's a big stash of weapons and armour. He's going to pick out of that stash what he wants. And he's going to pick, first he's going to pick a battle hammer. And this is a beast. This is a beast. It rolls 2 red and 2 blue dice for damage. It's a melee weapon. Strength or faith. There's the faith symbol, so Thorgar can use it. But as you can see, the sword symbol, the red sword symbol, is now in the middle and it's lay flat. That means it's 2-handed. So he can't equip a shield at the same time. This, as you can see, is taking up all his hand slots. So he's going to use the battle hammer, and if he rolls a lightning bolt, he can knock over a enemy model. If he gets 2 lightning bolts, he can either +2 damage, or he can bash. Bash is the same as what we saw with the shield. It moves an enemy back to an adjoining tile. Yeah, so he's going to take the battle hammer. We'll put that up there. And he's going to take 1 more item. He can take 3, but he's only going to take 2. He's going to take the studded leather. Now, this has got a star symbol here. Means it can be used by any hero, except if you have another symbol here with a red cross in it. And that's the M signal. That's the M symbol for magic. So if we were using a magic user, they wouldn't be able to have studded leather. But faith, strength, they can use this. Gives him 1 armour, which is great, and 2 blue dice. So it's not quite as good as the chainmail, but it does have a funky ability. If you roll a lightning bolt with your blue dice, it gives you an extra armour anyway. Yep, you get +1 shield. So still gives you a chance to actually, you know, knock back some damage. So we'll equip that. He's not going to take anything else. So after pausing slightly to put on his studded leather and heft his giant battle hammer, he's going to continue his movement, and he's going to go 1, 2. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, but I'll go through it now. When these two guys, let's just put him back there, when these two guys attacked Karras, it was 2 against 1. And what that normally means is, 1, they'd control the area, because there was more models, more enemy models than hero models, and 2, because there was double the amount of enemies than a hero, it would mean that they dominated the area. Now normally what that does is it gives you an extra damage each. It didn't in this case. The reason is Karras has a special ability, and he is a mighty presence. Yeah, and it's a passive, so we don't have to turn it over. It's a passive ability, so it's on all the time, and unless knocked over, and he wasn't knocked over, you count as 2 figures for controlling or dominating your area. Because he counted as 2 figures, it was 2 against 2, so nobody was controlling the area and nobody was dominating the area. However, that's going to change because Thorgar finishes his movement and comes into here. We now have 3 hero figures because Karras counts for 2. So we control the area. Isn't that funky? And what's going to happen is Thorgar he's not going to do any other sort of free actions or anything. He's just going to attack. So who's he going to attack? He's going to attack the green gremlin. The reason for that is this guy, if you attack the blue gremlin, remember the spines? So if we do some damage, he'd flick some spines out and it could be nasty. So what we'll do is we'll kill the weaker enemy. There's another reason for that is, if we get rid of this weaker green gremlin, which is easier to kill, we will then dominate the area because we will have 3 heroes, 2 + 1, and 1 enemy, and we will dominate the area, and we'll then, when we attack him next time, we will be getting extra damage on him. So we're going to attack the green one, and we're going to use the trusty old battle hammer. That gives us 2 red and 2 blue. Remember though that night is in effect, so we're going to get -1 on this. That didn't affect the enemies, but it does affect us. And what do we get? We get a shield, which is rubbish. That doesn't do anything during an attack, but we get a hit and we get a lightning bolt. So that's a good start. We get another hit, so that's 2 hits. And we get a 3rd hit with another lightning bolt. So we've got 2 lightning bolts and 3 hits. Now, we lose 1 hit because of night. Yes. So that is down to 2 hits. Now normally that wouldn't be enough to kill him because he has 3 health. But we have, yes, we have these 2 lightning bolts. So let's have a look at the battle hammer. 2 lightning bolts, we can get +2 hits, and that's what we're going to use them for. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1 for night is 4. He only has 3 health. Good night, sunshine. So he's off the board. Brilliant. We'll put him back up here. And he can wait to fight another day. So we have managed to kill him. if you recall, just very quickly, just bring it back, we get a soul shard for that. What are soul shards? Soul shards are how you level up in this game. You get extra soul ranks. Now, all of our heroes are level 1, and their target rank is 2. And to work out how many soul shards you need, it's 2 times 2, so 4. We've got 1, we're a quarter of the way there. We get another 3 of these soul shards, we can pick one of our heroes to level up. And then the next 4 will level somebody else up, and the next 4 will level our final hero up. Sound good? Does to me. Right, so we've got our first soul shard. Brilliant! And that is the end of Thorgar's turn. However, because there is still an enemy on the board, we have to pick an encounter. So let's flip it over, and we get Bloodlust. That doesn't sound good. Activate all wounded enemies. Well, we haven't got wounded enemies. We've got a dead enemy, but the blue one isn't wounded, so we've got to move to otherwise. Activate all enemies using their plus range, regardless of range. So this curly bracket with a plus in it, that'll be on his enemy scroll. So let's just have a quick look. Blue. Here's the blue enemy scroll. So we look for the curly brackets and the plus. There we are. Move up to 2 areas towards the closest hero, so it doesn't attack. That is brilliant. It does say disregard, regardless of range. So yes, he's already here, so he's going to stay here. And brilliant, we got away with that one. It's one of those where the actual encounter cards has worked in our favour, so that's brilliant. He didn't actually attack. Fantastic. That is it for Thorgar's turn. Next up, it is Leodon. And here we are with Leodon. Exactly the same thing the other 2 have done. He's going to move here, and then he's going to rifle through the stash. And what's he going to pick out? He is going to pick out the leather vest. So there's only a mage that cannot wear this. So that is fine for Leodon, who's a dexterity-based character. That will give him 3 blue dice. He doesn't get armour off it though. It just gives him the blue dice. Yeah, so that's the difference between this and the study leather. Again though, he does get to re-roll a defence die if he rolls a lightning bolt. So put the leather vest on him. And as regards armoury and weapons, he's going to pick the short bow because he's got precise strike as his power, so makes a lot of sense. So he's going to pick up the short bow. Again, it's 2-handed. See, got that symbol again in the middle. It will do 1 hit. Yeah, so it just does a hit. You don't have to roll a dice. And it works up to 3 range, so 3 tiles. It rolls 1 blue die, so it gets a hit and you roll a blue die. Yep. If we get a lightning bolt, that'll give us an extra hit. So, coolness. He'll put that up there. And I'm just going to give him 1 extra thing. He can actually have a dirk, which is a type of dagger. And it's only faith-based that can't use this. For example, Thorgar can't use this. But just in case, you know, we have to get him into melee at some point, it's good to have a backup weapon. So this is, if he swaps out his short bow, he can use this as his main weapon. Again, 1 blue die. It can be used as offhand as well. 1 blue die. Use it at 0 range, but it is lethal 1 on a lightning bolt. I'll tell you what lethal 1 is when we come up to it. But he'll take that, but this is going in his backpack. He can't hold it because he's holding the short bow, and that's a 2-handed weapon. So we'll just pop it into his backpack. And that is the stash rifled through. But he still has to go. So he's going to carry on his movement to here, but then he's going to stop because he's going to attack this guy. Now, the reason I'm stopping him there is, remember the spines? If we hit him, he's going to fire off some spines. Now, that's unfortunate for Karras and Thorgar, but there's no reason why we should have Leodon hit by them as well. So if he stays a bit back, then he can fire and the spines won't hit him because he's out of range of them. Alright, I think he's out of range of them. Let's just check. I think they have to be in his area. Yes, all arrows in its area. He's not in its area. He's doing a ranged attack. Okay, so that ranged attack with the short bow. And that finishes his movement now, because we've gone into combat. Movement, finished. And what we're going to do, we've got one hit for sure. And we get to roll a blue dice as well. And let's have a look at his power. Precise strike. Your next attack inflicts a critical, but it's an action, so we can't use it. Yep, we used our action here in order to pick up those weapons and his armour. So unfortunately we can't use precise strike. All we'll get is this blue die plus one hit that we've already got. And roll that. And we got a crappy shield. What we're going to do is Thorgar is going to use this passive, so we can use it at any time. And once per round, a target hero, who's going to be Leodon, can re-roll up to one die per soul rank divided by 2. With soul rank 1, divided by 2 is 0.5, round up is 1. So we can do it once. And we're going to re-roll this. Come on, we need a hit. And we get another shield, so we missed. We cannot re-roll that again. So what happened was we only got one hit. But if you remember, it's night time, so we get -1 hit because it's night time. So we didn't hit it at all. The only good thing about that is his spines ability isn't going to kick off. Yeah, he didn't get hurt, so his spines aren't going to kick off. And we still have, though, one enemy on the board, which means we pull an encounter and we get fresh meat. Activate all enemies in a full health state. Yep, that's this guy. So he's going to attack. Again, nobody has got any crowns, so we're going to have him attack Karras because he's got the best armour. He's got an armour of 2, which is going to go down to an armour of 1 because he's a blue gremlin, and when he attacks with claws, you lose an armour. And he attacks with, I believe it's 2 dice, is it not? Let's just check again. Yes, 2 red dice. So we could do with one of these missing. And rather than one of these missing, we've got 3 hits. So that's 3 hits. 2 on there, 1 and a star on here. Get rid of one of those because we've still got 1 armour, a single armour. So that means 2 got through. We have 4 blue dice we can use, so we can use 2 of those. And we're going to roll against that. We need shields. And we got no shields. We got hits and little stars, which are no good. We've used Thorgar's reroll, so we can't use that. Let's have a look at chainmail. We didn't get any. No, we got no lightning bolts either. So we take 2 damage. So 6 goes down to 4. Bad news. Good job, Thorgar's here. He can heal. But yes, a nasty, vicious attack from the blue gremlin there, right at the death of the round. And what I very nearly did there was finish the actual episode when we haven't finished yet. It wasn't the end of the round, it was the end of the battle phase. So our 3 heroes have gone, the enemies have gone, battle phase is over, and that leads us into this phase, which is the event phase. And the event phase is to do with the event deck, which is just down here. Now we've got the night event, that's carries on until such time as it changes. We haven't been told to change it yet, so we still have the -1 hit for our heroes. But the event deck, however, that gets revealed. So this top card is now going to be revealed. So we'll flip that across and we get 14 lost treasure. Place a treasure card in the active heroes area. Now the active hero is Leodon. Leodon was the last active hero, so we'll put it there. We've got the treasure deck here. And we'll give it a shuffle, and a crap shuffle because it's me. So I'll do that again, and bloody hell, fire. God, I'm rubbish at shuffling me. Right, there we go, and we'll do a cut like I normally do. So we've done a cut, and this treasure, whatever it is, we're going to pop that underneath Leodon there. And next episode, what he can do is he can pick that up as a free action, and we can see what he's got. We may do that straight away, I think. So Leodon may actually go first, just because he may, you know, it may be very useful and help us defeat this enemy. But that will be next turn. He can't do it now because the battle phase is over, so he can't even use a free action during the event phase. He'll have to wait till next turn. But we have got a treasure. So our active event at the moment is Lost Treasure, and what will happen at the event stage next turn is we will just discard that, and then when we discard that, we'll have an event that looks like that, and it will be the turn afterwards that we switch that one over. Remember the timing mechanism and how it works. So there we go. We have found a lost treasure, but before we can actually look at it, you know, we've got this guy to get rid of, and then we can continue to explore, go into the town square, which is over here, and make our way towards the cathedral. So it's gone okay, I think. Okay, you know, that shadow token, it had 2 enemies. So that's the worst shadow token we could get first up. We got a blue and a green gremlin. We managed to kill the green one. The blue one's very much alive. It's hit Karras for 2 damage. But, to be honest, Karras did get attacked quite a lot during that last round. And only to take 2 damage. He is a bit of a tough nut. He's got quite a bit of armour. He was a bit unlucky with that last attack, but with Thorgar and he himself, you know, ready to wail on this guy next turn, I think we should be able to kill him. Well, hopefully anyway. And if we can get him out of the way before he attacks, so much the better. That'll be fantastic. And then we can look to turn this corner. When we turn this corner, obviously we're going to get into line of sight of this particular token. Now, if we do the X here to Leodon's X, it does, I'm just ruling that it clips this corner, so it's out of line of sight. Yeah, but it is a very close run thing. But what I've decided, if it's very close, we're going to err on the side of the heroes for a change. It's not Arkham Horror. So I'm just going to rule it's just slightly clipping that. It's close, but it's a lot easier for me, because I don't have to, you know, spawn a load of enemies, and this is running on long enough as it is. So I'm just going to take it that that slightly clips here, so it's out of line of sight. Okay, so that is it for the event phase. That is it for our first turn of Sword and Sorcery and Immortal Souls. Hope you enjoyed it. We should be quicker next time, so we'll probably get two turns in next episode. Obviously I had to explain a few things, and we were picking our stash items and things like that, so it took a little longer than it would normally. So I think once we get into it, we'll be doing 2 turns an episode. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the subscriptions, for all the views, and for all the likes and dislikes, because you're still watching. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for all the help and support. And as ever, if you've noticed any sort of error, please let me know, and I will do my best to fix it for next turn. Other than that, yes, just thank you so much. And anybody who's been across to Board Game Links to upvote the site, thank you as well. Not forgetting those of you at Board Game Geek who like the video threads over there, or drop Geek Gold, or make a comment, thank you so much. Okay, that is the end of turn 1. And I hope to see you for turn 2 and 3, which will be next episode. But until then, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.